How did you know? There you go. Yeah, how did I know? It's almost like I've done this for a while, and Nikki Haley's a crooked hack.
Yes.
All right, let's go back to Ron DeSantis. Hey, Mike Pence is talking. Let's all hurry so we can not care.
Well, look, I'm not new to this cause.
I tell you what you are new to.
After I
not
gave my life
sucking.
to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, I opened up the book and I read.
Yeah, that doesn't
Before
work.
I formed you in the womb, I knew you.
And by the way, I agree with all but this is not, the first debate should not be about the abortion issue for these candidates. And the way they framed the question was obviously one trying to get people to slip up. I get that Mike Pence is trying to position himself as a social conservative, which I am through and through. I'm as pro-life as you get. But the line of questioning tonight, do not be fooled. Climate change is the most discussed issue in our generation. And then the next question after that, or two questions later, is the abortion issue that's being misrepresented. This is going to tell you who your friends are when you look at people like Nikki Haley and how they answer. I guarantee that Mike Pence has a good answer, but this is a no-win situation for these people this early in a campaign. You know what they won't ask? They won't ask a single Democrat to put a limit on abortion. Not one. That'll never happen. Hey, let's say it's not 9 months. It's, when is it? Is it 8? Is it 7? Is it 6? And you'll find out really quickly who has a more reasonable policy. I'm just really disappointed that Fox News is doing this, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised.
Nobody's talking about abortion. I read the headlines every day for the last 2 months.
Well, one person
Other
is.
than Salon.
Fox News.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm validating your point.
No, it's
I haven't heard anybody mention abortion.
I know.
How about
I'm
the
sorry,
illegals?
I was distracted looking for a fly on Mike Pence's hair.
Yeah.
To see if that. Oh yeah, that's.
No, his hair is actually just a bunch of deceased flies.
It's like
Really?
Madame Tussauds wax machines.
Oh, he's making it. They got him.
Any more than a Democrat president could ban all those state laws. Don't make women feel like they have to decide on this issue when you know we don't have 60 Senate votes in the House.
Oh, here we go.
Nobody gives a
Female
shit.
victim. You don't have a vagina, no opinion. Really?
I hate that
You know
argument.
what? There's never been a male president, so you can't run.
Leadership.
Hold on.
You can't have those.
Sorry, female president.
Yeah. You have to be honest with the American people.
15-week limit.
Let's get Governor Bergman for one minute here.
For anything.
So do you really think you have a shot?
Yes.
What are you doing here, stupid?
And the result of that decision was that it went back
good.
to the states. So that's where it is right now. So
That's
as I
Dracula.
understand it, you are not in favor.
Go, there you go, Henry Winkler.
There it is.
Yeah, he's the
What do you
Italian
say
Transylvania.
about the states? There's about 5 of them, including New Jersey, I think a few others, that allow abortion up until the time of birth, though. If you were president, would you
Should
be
be
able
third
to
grade.
abide that?
What?
Well, first of all, I'm a
kidding,
pro-life
folks.
governor of a very pro-life state. And this issue is, of course, very important. But I am on the record, and I stand behind that we should not have a federal abortion ban. We should not. And the reason why we shouldn't is very simple.
There is
It's
no
the
federal
Fifth
abortion
Amendment
ban, though.
in the Constitution.
There is no
In the
federal abortion
Constitution.
ban.
No, he's saying that they're basically pushing for it. That's what the argument was with Nikki Haley and Mike Pence.
Right.
Pushing for a federal abortion ban, and he's saying, look, that's a states' rights issue.
Right.
He just pulled out a little Constitution. It was
He
actually a
did.
flask.
We need
Be tough to drink from with his cleft palate.
Who the hell is this guy anyway?
We can't have Republicans who fight for 50 years for this great cause to return it back to the states, and then the next day they turn around and go, no, the feds should do that, because the feds are stepping into people's lives, they're stepping into people's businesses over and over.
And as someone who does view it as a termination of a life, I also understand. This is the middle ground that people talked about, that Republicans need to take. It goes to the states. And I understand people making the argument, yeah, but murder is illegal on a federal level. I understand. But as far as what you can accomplish politically, this is about as good as you're going to get, and states can enact their laws. And then you do a better job of doing that in their states. But this is not
politically. I agree with
And
that.
also, credit where credit's due. Nick,
Although
you nailed it with the Flask Constitution.
I want to see a federal abortion ban, but politically make more sense to argue for
he can't
states.
burst his lip up against it. It'll just dribble right down to his underpants.
This is the guy out of all of this making me laugh that he's there tonight.
I know.
Hutchinson.
Out of there.
Well, left and friggin'
He is.
Just name a lefty.
Chris Christie.
Through the term. So they have their extreme position at a national level. It's most likely going to be addressed in the states, but it's certainly fine for
You say we is most likely going to be addressed? Well, is we is or is we ain't what the Confederates had.
I signed 30 pro-life pieces of legislation while I was governor.
30?
And
how many does
every
it take?
state can
Exactly.
determine
I thought it was one.
Thank you.
and it is the most important issue for women and for the unborn child and for our country that we get this right.
Hold on, it's not just for women anymore, abortion.
That's true. That's true.
I'm telling you.
Men can have abortions too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, your prostate won't be the biggest fan of it, but
You don't even have to go to Planned Parenthood. You just play football with your buddies in the backyard, have a few beers, get blindsided, and Timmy ends up in the the street.
Things we've done in Arkansas and are important for our nation's future.
I don't know what was
We're back
happening.
to Pigtown.
We were just
didn't have
supposed to be
Walmart.
touch football, and Bobby ended up with a miscarriage. I don't know how that.
Poor Bobby.
California, New York, and Illinois have abortions
just-
on
I like Tim
demand.
Scott. He just didn't come to play.
Black people aren't boring. How do we pick a boring black guy? They're not. They're not boring. One thing you can say about black people, they're interesting people.
Yes.
Where do we find this fucking mannequin?
Ben Carson was already taken.
Yeah.
Jesus. He makes Ben Carson look like Malcolm X.
Pro-life record. I got to tell you though.
I gotta tell you,
we
Popeye's
must
got the best
fight
shit.
for
Cause
life.
what?
Our
It's live, Nick. We can't cut.
Our creator gave
It's okay. I'm black. I approve.
that include life. That is a list. That is an issue we must solve. We can't leave it to Illinois. We can't leave it to Minnesota.
Oh, come on. Yes, you can.
Why don't you start talking
you
like
can.
Octavia Spencer
I
when she
know.
cries?
I know.
We can't. I say.
He's doing the inward talking.
He sounded like Hillary doing a black guy.
Are they for 38 weeks? Are they for 39
I'll
weeks?
go back
Are
to
they
the
for
women's
40
shelter,
weeks?
silly.
Because that's what the media needs to be asking.
All right, another issue is America.
Nikki Haley
and
got
the
it right.
crime
Ask the
crisis,
Dems.
The homelessness crisis.
Where's your
American
limit?
Cities are in decline. People are moving out as
So are your
homelessness,
ratings.
drugs, crime move in. There are problems accelerated.
As drugs and crime
They
move
do
in,
it-
Mr. Scott, you know all about that. I'm just joshing you. Hey, Asa Hutchinson,
Murder
this
in
one's
Los
for you.
Angeles, New York, Chicago, all up 30% between 2019 and 2022.
I
Homelessness
love how they
is up
blur the
11%.
face of the homeless
Yeah,
person out of
exactly.
respect for the homeless.
What is that?
Vice President
Wouldn't sign me.
Pence, a lot of this began in
Sir,
the
if you wouldn't
COVID
mind
era.
showing your ass.
That-
in the back,
that
don't
guy-
worry, I'll blur your face.
Was that guy scratching his ass?
Is a result of those COVID lockdowns, and is your administration in part to blame for how we got here?
Well, I think what's in part to blame is the Democrats have been talking about defunding the police for the last 5 years. And we ought to be funding law enforcement,
I don't know.
particularly in our major cities, at unprecedented levels. I mean, it's extraordinary to think about the violence that's claiming innocent lives literally every week in every major city in this country. And yet Democrats and liberal prosecutors in major metropolitan areas continue to work out their fanciful agendas, to do bail reform and go easy. What we need is strong commitment.
It's bigger than that,
to law
Mike. It's a
enforcement.
cultural
We need
revolution.
leadership in Washington, D.C.
Honestly.
That'll marshal the resources of the states, marshal the resources of the American
He's like
people.
Jiminy Cricket if I could stomp him.
About opportunity. I mean, a lot of people don't know that those
Well,
Trump
he's talking. We
tax
want to bring up
cuts-
some of the Trump with Tucker interview. Can someone just give
Yeah,
me some
so
context?
the
Because I'm
next-
flying blind. I have no idea what's coming up.
So I've got plenty of Trump stuff, just kind of feathering it in. So here's him talking about Gavin Newsom.
Oh, wonderful.
There
That
we
should
go.
be fun.
Bye, Mike.
Newsom. There. Cool.
We're switching. It says Newsom.
3,
It says
2,
Give me
Newsom.
more time.
a 1.
Keep cutting them. We have like 20.
Newsom, guys, just give us the highlights. We don't need 20 clips. Don't cut all of it. Okay,
They
Newsom.
cut everything.
Newsom.
All right, well, let's go to Chris Christie because he's going to say something and his bees will be.
around the country.
Talking about chicken cacciatore.
Blame this crisis on easy access to guns. They also blame Republicans for blocking gun control legislation.
Quit coloring your hair.
Oh, this may be a layup for Chris Christie to sabotage himself because he's incredibly anti-gun.
I'm the only person, along with Governor Hutchinson, up on this stage who's actually running United States Attorney's Office. I ran the 5th largest office in America in a
to be large.
state where there is significant urban
The oblong
crime.
office.
And the problem
Did you
is
make
not
it the
gonna
5th
be
largest
solved
office?
by
Exactly.
more money.
It was a broom
It was
closet.
the 8th
So you got
until
there.
there.
These
The
prosecutors
West
in
Wings.
these
Oh, too many
localities
fact
in the
checks.
states
Bullshit.
are refusing to do their job and to arrest violent criminals. So what a President Christie would do is appoint an attorney general who would instruct each
Why didn't,
of
if I'm
the
not
93
mistaken, why didn't Governor Christie, you guys fact check, bring this up for me, please, in Mission Control. Why didn't Governor Christie get rid of the waiting period? I believe it was 30 days, and there was a woman who actually had a restraining order out against her ex-husband, I believe, or maybe it was her current fiance, who ended up being killed because she needed a gun immediately. So when people say, why do you need a gun right away? Why can't you have a cooling down period? I don't know. Sometimes people need to purchase a firearm to defend themselves for a specific situation. Governor Christie was probably the most left, if I'm not mistaken, if there's a rating system, probably the worst Republican governor in the history of the Second Amendment. That's why he wants to talk about who he appointed.
Which was mandated by legislation sponsored by his father. And then you have a Justice Department that walks away from those charges.
In your case, Waddle.
Christie won an eating contest. Get on that stage.
He would go to jail for 10 years.
What about a President Ramaswamy?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Let's see what he has. All right, good. Going back to Ramaswamy.
About guns.
So the reality is we have a crime wave in this country and we know how to fix it. The question is, do we actually have the spine to do it? More cops in the streets who are on the streets able to do their jobs without looking over their shoulder for getting sued. And we also have a mental
Ramaswamy is the best one on the stage.
Just over the same period that we have closed
Not even competition.
we have seen a spike in violent crime. Do we have the spine to bring them back? I think we should. As president, I will. But it's not just drugging up people in those psychiatric institutions with Zoloft and Seroquel. It's a deeper issue. I think faith-based approaches can play a role here too. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. And I say this as a member of my generation. The problem in our country right now, the reason we have that mental health epidemic, is that people are so hungry for purpose and meaning at a time when family, faith, patriotism, hard work have all disappeared. What we really need is a tonal reset from the top, saying that this is what it means to be an American. Yes, we will stand for the rule of law. Yes, we will close the southern border where criminals are coming in.
Boom! Fit it in there. Good. Thug life moment. First guy to fit in immigration.
Two thug life moments with Vivek.
How we address that mental health epidemic in the next generation that is directly leading to violent crime across this country.
Governor DeSantis, really quickly. Governor DeSantis.
Let's see what he says.
We don't have an identity crisis with that. We're not looking for a new national identity. The American people are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving, idealistic, hard-working.
I do not like Mike Pence.
We just need government as good as our people.
We don't need government, period, stupid.
Some others, like you may have on the stage, it's Morning in America speech. It is not Morning in America. We live in a dark moment, and we have to confront the fact that
Good.
we're in an internal
Good. And
sort
by
of
the way,
cold
if you go back to Ronald Reagan, everyone acts like Ronald Reagan was just shining city on a hill. No, at the beginning of his campaigns, he talked about where they were in that country. When he smoked Carter, he talked about the dark days of America and then transitioned into a plan. Mike Pence is delusional. That does not resonate with the American public, and certainly not people who will vote for a Republican. Let me hear Ramaswamy.
Definitely not.
How do you stop?
Follow that act,
Western
DeSantis.
crime's at a 50-year low in Florida. We're happy with that. Well, the statewide, it's a 50-year low. And so here's the thing.
Brett was too ready with that.
Cities, this is
Gerald,
a
I noticed
symptom
that.
of America's decline. And one of the biggest reasons is because you have George Soros funding these radical left-wing district attorneys. They get into office and they say they're not.
Yeah, we all know that. What are you going to do about it?
I disagree with the inmates start running the asylum. There's one guy in this entire country that's ever done anything about that.
His name is Ron DeSantis.
That is true. Attorneys in Florida elected with Soros funding who said they wouldn't do their job. I removed them from their posts. They are gone.
Yep. He needs to leave.
Boom. Good. Thug life moment. We'll need some refills on the beers because I know I'm out. That's right. You need some.
My tongue on the
these people because they are hurting the quality of life and they are victimizing innocent people in every corner of this country, and it will stop when I get into office.
You were right on Chris Christie. It was a 30-day waiting period, and there was a woman who was killed while waiting on her gun permit for protection.
How old is that? I'm bringing that from Rick. That's probably what is that? That's going back to Obama days.
That is 2000 and actually
2015.
15. Yeah, 2015. So good job, guys.
Get sick, everybody comes together and helps them get the crop
Excuse me,
off.
Dracula's talking.
Accountability, there's transparency. One thing that I think this
One vote.
Thank you. What the fuck you
I understand small town values.
He was laying down. He just
to get this country on track again.
we can do it in North Dakota.
Look at that smile.
Yeah, you.
As former head of the DEA, I understand the drug crisis.
Jesus. Who are these two guys?
Is that too much to ask?
There's three simple words that will be held. One, enforce the law when it comes to
Asa
crime.
looks like what Mike Pence is going to look like in another 15 years.
Fentanyl. And it's
Depending on
both
top
about
bags.
He has eyes like those white rats.
White woman.
Does, yes.
You know what I mean? The white rats where they have like the eyes that are inflamed.
They're red.
Yeah, but he looks like they're probably red.
Yes.
Usually.
And he has a tail.
Yeah, he does. Well, that's really more of a growth of the coccyx bone, tailbone, but these are medical terms that you need.
Coccyx.
On your
Yes.
I'm saying right now, I can move my left hand thanks to balance of nature.
Inner cities. As president of the United States,
Look
that
at
will
me.
stop.
I couldn't do this
It
Wednesday.
starts at the top with
I rubbed one out today in the fucking.
Oh my god.
See, that's eyes like that rat.
Indictment has undermined
His eyes
by
do look
attacking
like that.
judges, by
Jesus.
attacking prosecutors, by attacking the
This is
system.
weak. I'm
and
sorry.
saying
Yeah,
that
like,
he's
it's creepy.
aggrieved. And so we have to have respect for
Now,
our
seriously,
justice.
we're not like he isn't actually paralyzed on his right side, right? Like we're not just joking about something.
I don't think so.
He's just a bit of an asshat who refuses to remove to move his right arm at all.
No, he's like a hip hop guy. He's grabbing his balls.
Where former President
I'm
Donald
saying?
Trump
Ow,
will be
drink.
processed tomorrow.
The big Cypress Hill fan.
Candidates will have an opportunity to talk about the
All right,
coming
they're going to a
trials.
break. It looks like.
That's
All right.
Fulton County, that
So-
street?
Well, really quick. What were you about to say there,
I was
Joe?
about to say we can go to another Trump clip if you want to, or if you want to provide something of commentary there. He was basically saying at the federal level we're going to stop these smash and grabs. I'm like, really? How? Because that's a state issue that you have to deal with, and really it's a city issue that you have to deal with, and you have to get these stupid Democrats to have better policies in these cities where these things are occurring. That's not a federal send in the police thing because you don't have a police that you should be sending in.
Yeah, 100% Cold Navy. Pence is 100% a joke. I don't know what just how he talked. Joe Biden has weakened our economy or whatever at home and abroad. I hate it. He just seems so fake. Like everything about him seems fake.
We have a new Chris Christie. We have the exclusive here at Louder with Crowder. Of course, you can join Mug Club, louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club. And then Gerald was there on location in Milwaukee, and you can see the answers that we got from some of these candidates.
Chris Christie. I can't guarantee you success in what I'm about to do.
For the working man.
You're going to get some straight talk from New Jersey.
For the truth.
Bag of M&M's. Right? Donald Trump doesn't even have this at games.
Because the truth matters.
If you are in search of the perfect candidate,
Throw it up.
it's time to leave. I am not it. We're going to be small, or are we going to be big? And that's why I came back to tell all of you that I intend to seek the Republican nomination for President of the United States in 2024, and I want your support.
Chris Christie. You make good cookies.
Carrie Lake has decided to join us. Carrie, thank you very much for being here.
It's so good to be back on and to be in beautiful Milwaukee. Wow, they've done a great job with this city.
Absolutely. We were talking about this, I believe, earlier in the year, and I said, look, the best possible scenario is 4 more years of Donald Trump and then 8 years of DeSantis at the time, because I thought, just stay out of it. Donald Trump is going to go and become president again.
And you thought
Just
that
stay out of
DeSantis
it.
would be smart enough.
I thought he would be, right? And that would be good for him. And the thing that people liked about DeSantis, he's not been doing any of that. It's almost like he's taking kind of that Mitt Romney turn that cost him to change when he was facing off against Barack Obama. And it's like, don't go be who they want you to be. But I do believe that President Trump will be victorious at this debate, even though he's not even there. I don't know that there's any point in him coming to some of these debates. I don't think that people are going to suspend their campaigns because they are banking on President Trump either running out of money, running out of support, or just not wanting to deal with it. I don't think any of those things are going to happen. So good luck with that.
Well, he's never going to run out of support. The people who love President Trump love him, and they will vote for him no matter where he is. They could try to lock him up; they'll still vote for him.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, he's already won the debate. I have been doing interviews for the last couple of weeks about the debate, and not once has anybody asked me about the other candidates. It's all questions about Trump.
Yeah.
You wake up, you turn the news on, it's about Trump. And how brilliant for him to do an interview with Tucker Carlson. The two people that Fox hates the most right now are President Trump and Tucker Carlson. And tomorrow, when Fox wants everybody talking about the Little League game they're going to hold in here, tomorrow everyone's going to be talking about Trump and Tucker. And Tucker, who can be a tough interview, I don't think he's going to do a softball interview.
No, he's been critical of President Trump before. So,
but President Trump will be able to get out his ideas for turning this country around and how he sees us saving ourselves on the world stage, because we are marching toward World War III. That is the backdrop of what's happening, by the way, and they want us distracted with all these other things. Meanwhile, the world has been destabilized, and we're heading toward World War III. And hopefully they talk about some of these issues, because I think we're going to find out there's a lot of warmongers in there. One of the main reasons they want to bring Trump down is he is a truth teller and a peacemaker. He didn't start any wars, and that makes the military-industrial complex, which has a lot of control in this world, that makes them very upset.
Very upset. And less rich. Because
there's no money in peace, but there's trillions to be made in war. And President Trump is about peace.
Absolutely. Well, really quickly, final question. Can you fast forward a little bit to President Trump winning the nomination, selecting a vice president? Who do you think that could be, and where do you see yourself going next? And maybe those two things are tied together. I'm not saying they are. Listen, I'm not leading the witness. I'm just saying.
I think that, in a year or so, when he does choose his vice president, President Trump is very smart. He'll look at
I would love to see Carrie Lake as a vice president.
I need help with this group, with that group, in this state.
That would be
he will pick
power
an
team.
incredible vice president. And
Carrie Lake
picks,
or
I will vote
Vivek.
for enthusiastically. In the meantime, I'm seriously giving it consideration to jump into the U.S. Senate race in Arizona.
Very nice.
We have two Democrats running, one who just announced that she's going to act like an independent, even though she's voted with Joe Biden 93% of the time. And we have an opportunity to pick up a seat.
I hate people
finally
like that.
get an America First senator.
Oh, I'm an independent. I'm in the middle. Meanwhile, you're only vote for one party.
I'll be making a decision in the next couple months. I just wrote a book, Unafraid.
It's like them default Democrats.
In typical
Default
fashion,
liberal.
I throw a few punches.
I would expect nothing less.
And I have a few other things that I'm working on right now in my personal life that I'm really giving that serious consideration, because we have an opportunity to get a great senator in Arizona who will serve the people of Arizona in Washington, D.C.
I love it. If you end up running, I want a button, and let us know. Let us know what you're doing. We'd love to stay in touch with you. But thank you very much for making some time with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And thank you to the audience out there.
Okay, we are back to the debate. Bring it up there in the lower quadrant. Toolman and Nick DiPaolo is with me. His show is on Mug Club, lightofcrowder.com/Mug Club.
Yeah.
You get $10 off with the promo code Crowder GOP Debate. Hey, what do you get? You get Nick DiPaolo. You get Alex Jones. You get the Hodge Twins coming soon. You get Brian Callen. You get Guns and Gear.
I need to sign up
you
for
get,
that shit.
Our Friday show. You get double the show every single day. You get the investigative
Especially for the
unit
Hodge
that does not
Twins.
exist without your
That's-
support at Mug Club.
Yeah,
No corporate
especially the Hodge
donors.
Twins. I've been wanting them to have a
These
show
fat
for so
puppets.
long.
Nick
Like
DiPaolo
I've been watching.
is going to be also Rob's Comedy Playhouse. I'm sorry, what a terrible name, but it's a very, very good venue.
I've been watching the Hodge Twins probably for about 10 years. Like I've been watching them before they was in politics, when they was doing their workout channels and they eating channels and all that stuff. Like I've been watching them for at least probably 8-10 years.
He's talking about cholesterol.
I'd like to get
Turn
in
up,
and
turn up.
respond. Let's just speak the truth, okay? President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century.
Bug Life moment. I'm not finishing my drink, though, but you guys bring up the drinking game rules so everyone can see them.
Yeah, that's just a drink.
That's just a drink. I can't finish my drink. It was just filled.
You understand how much good he just did for himself?
Trump is mentioned January 28th.
This is why Vivek is as high as he is and climbing in the polls.
We need this.
He's continuing the thug life.
Him or Carrie Lake is the VP pick for Trump.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Vision for this country. They could just change the channel to MSNBC right now. But I'm not running for president of MSNBC. I am running for president of the United States.
Point.
We're skinning out the ice.
Christy looks so short.
Like the guy in Seinfeld.
Uses police force.
Chris Christie, you are very, very bad man.
30 seconds, Governor Zach.
You tell me to go to debate on Fox, but nobody come. Do you see people? Where are people? There are no people.
What did he just say, this fat fuck?
What did he say?
You sit here and answer.
You sit everywhere.
No, don't bail him out, Martha. You let him wallow.
Let him deal with those boos. Let it reverberate into his sloppy soul.
Brett's lecturing the crowd.
Oh my.
Yeah, you sit everywhere.
You should drink.
It's done, man. Fox is hurting himself.
Yeah, moderator interrupted.
You sit here talking about how you want to stand up for the rule of law.
Yes.
And law and order. And the fact is that it can't be selective. In your book, you had much different things to say about Donald Trump than you're saying here tonight.
That's not true.
Well, it is very true.
That is not
It's
true.
very true.
So what was it?
You ate it.
Quote it, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Quote it.
Quote it, Dom DeLuise.
Look at, he's not taking any of it.
Better than you do. You've never done it like you've never done anything to try to advance the interests of this government except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. And here's the thing. We've stood up for law and order.
The crowd is booing for this clown.
You didn't stand up to a waiting period and people got killed in your state. You stand up to no one, Chris Christie. If nothing else tonight, please let his giant bubble be burst as far as the tough talking straight from the hip. Everything about that man is phony.
I saw him stand up to the managers at Arby's.
You said you have the beef.
Why go?
Now,
That's why they advertise that now. I know.
To preserve, protect.
He's going to hang himself right here. Watch.
Well, you need to
Show me the rope.
Yeah, I was going to say you need to read
It's a cable.
It's got to be cable.
It's got to be an old pipe.
Get everyone in on this issue. But
Martha, stand up and spin around. Make it an ass like a nectarine. Let's see it.
Oh my
Vice President is on
God.
the
Gotta be
stage tonight.
cable.
He has faced hecklers on the campaign trail over his actions
Look at
on
this
January
wooden
the
puppet.
6th.
January
On that
6th.
day, the vice
How do
president
you feel about termites,
moved
Mike?
forward with the certification
January
of the
6th.
election.
I think
So
Geppetto
do you-
had a weekend with Pinocchio and Mike Pence happened
Oh God.
Did the right thing
on
Senator
Temptation
Scott.
Island.
Do you believe he did the right thing?
Absolutely. He did the right thing. Number one.
Oh, you sucked him.
We should be asking ourselves a bigger question about the weaponization of the Department of Justice. When I'm president, the first thing I'll
That's a
do
good thing.
is fire
Good.
Merrick Garland. Secondly,
Defund the FBI.
Fire
Whoever here
Christopher-
tonight says disband the FBI, our intelligence agencies, and build anew is the guy who should win this debate. I've said that's a close-handed issue for me. You cannot save this country without disbanding our intelligence agencies who are political propaganda and hit artist wings. Yeah.
Justice.
Well, how can you say
Here's
Mike
why.
Pence did the right
We keep
thing and then
seeing
say go
not
after the
only
Department of
weaponization
Justice?
of the
It's kind of
Department of Justice
contradictory.
against political opponents, but also against parents who show up at school board meetings. They're called under this deal.
Now that's clever. That's how Glenn Youngkin won his election.
That's right.
He talked about the critical race theory. He talked about the white privilege. He talked about the transgender bathrooms. And people always say those social issues don't work. Guess what? They won. Youngkin,
They 100%
governorship in a
work.
very, very blue state. So this is, some people say this is ill-advised. Don't listen to those people. Those people are morons.
His homes with guns drawn because this DOJ uses their power, uses their authority, not just against political opponents, but against conservatives and conservative causes. It is time for a change in America.
Well said, Mr.
And
Scott.
I will bring that change to the greatest
Oh, don't
nation
do that.
on God's green earth.
He did go a little
He
bit.
did.
I will bring.
I got a dream.
Thing on January 6th.
So here's what
January
we need to
6th.
do. We need to
January 6th,
end
drink.
the weaponization of these federal agents.
Disband them. Come on, someone, grow some balls here. Disband the FBI. Comment. I'd love to see your chat in Mug Club. But let's put out a poll. Do you think we need you to? You right now, millions of people out there, whether you're following me, whether you're hundreds of thousands who are watching right now across all of our platforms, you are a sample group. Do you want your candidate, the Republican candidate, to run on the platform of disbanding our intelligence agencies? They want you to think that you're an extremist. I think it's most of you. Let's put out a poll.
Iraq, that you focus on the mission above all else. You can't get distracted. So Republicans, we've got to look forward and we've got to make sure that we're bringing the message that can win in November 2024.
Vice President Pence, what do you think, Vice President?
Is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. I think the American people deserve to know whether everyone on this stage agrees that I kept my oath to the Constitution that day. There's no more important duty.
You were
Who
inconsistent
the hell
in your
is
answer. Here's the
cheering
thing. It's
for
not
that?
about just defending. We're no longer a nation. Look, I want to take a second.
Constitution
Yes,
right now, right?
Exactly. You are no longer a nation or a candidate defending the Constitution. What you are doing is trying to undo a president, and by the way, you're really talking about 12 years, 8 years of Obama and 4 of Biden, then there were 4 in between, 3 really, of someone wiping their ass with the Constitution. You're not defending something anymore. You're trying to reinstitutionalize the Constitution. You are trying to ensure that you reinvigorate the American people to understand. You have an entire generation of people who do not understand, or if they do, they don't care about the Constitution. You are no longer in defense mode. You need to be in attack mode. You need to be in rebuild mode. And that's why Mike Pence should disappear into obscurity. He's not talking to the American public, and certainly not the voting base, as far as where they are at this period in time. This is, when you wonder about the donor class, ask yourself about Mike Pence. If Tucker Carlson didn't do what he did with Mike Pence, guess what? He would still be a darling to a lot of the conservative donor media class. And I say this as a, you can go back to 2008 on YouTube. No one has a track record longer than me of being a conservative, pretty much basic bitch, pumpkin spice conservative across the board. But the messaging now is different when you are at a point in this country. It is a turning point, and people like Mike Pence are out to lunch.
Consistent with RNC rules.
Chat's hitting us up. They're saying disband like crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, but let's put out a poll on Twitter. And
we are, yeah.
Martha, can I answer the question?
Can I get in on that?
No.
I'd like to answer.
I've already been on it, Vice President Pence.
All right, I'd like to
That's his tough moment. Hey, hang on.
Mike Pence stood for the Constitution.
Here we
He
go.
deserves not grudging credit. He deserves our thanks as Americans for putting his oath of office and the Constitution of the United States before personal, political, and unfair pressure.
Thank you.
The argument that we need to have in this party before we can move on to the issues that Ron talked about is we have to dispense with the person who said that we need to suspend
There you go.
the
There we go.
Constitution
Attacking Trump.
to put forward his
There you go.
political
Attack
career.
Donald Trump. I don't think you're going to like how this goes, Hot Shot.
I give him credit, but I mean, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he thinks he's going to gain from saying that. You look at the polls. Trump's what?
He has advisors
80
telling
points
him
ahead of
that
everybody?
he should be a Romney type.
Yeah.
Right thing. And I do think that we need to give him credit for that. But what I will also tell you is, look, I mean,
No, what he needs are some lifts
when
in
it
his
comes
shoes.
to whether President Trump should serve or not, I trust the American people. Let them vote. Let them decide.
The American people don't trust their vote.
that it
Do we
is
have that
time for
poll?
a new-
It's a significant portion of Americans, including, by the way, Democrats, who don't believe that their vote is secure or that it's counted properly. They're speaking to people who aren't there. This is the problem with the donor class. This is where Vivek is going to pick up some steam. The GOP, do you want a puppet candidate saying the American people have to trust their vote? They already don't. Talk to those people. They're tuning in right now. They're looking for a reason to give you their vote. Are you man enough or woman enough, Nikki Haley, to take it?
She's
Do you have the balls to take it?
January 6th. But I would say you started off the top of this hour saying we're going to talk about China, Ukraine, education.
I lowered the crime
China
in Transylvania by 40%.
And every minute, these eight
Go smack a
candidates spend-
jukebox.
Impalings were up 75%, but
Hey, Groucho wants his eyebrows back. Listen.
the garlic harvest is great.
Promised we were going to spend a few questions on it.
suits
let
are
people say
unoriginal.
what they wanted to say. And now, indeed, we are moving on
That
to the
looks
subject.
terrific.
The U.S. has committed nearly 77.
Can I speak on this issue?
You did
say
answer.
something. I thought we thought you were done.
Hey, can I speak on this issue?
Well, Mike, why don't you say this? Join me in making
No,
a
you
commitment
can't.
That on day one you would pardon Donald Trump. I'm the only candidate on the stage.
Here we go.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Not the
Let's see what they say. Listen.
How we move our nation forward.
I don't know why
Vivek.
Forward. That's
Donald
exactly
Trump
right.
will be convicted of these crimes.
You should be able to make a commitment. The same justice system that was this
Vivek, here's
corrupt.
the difference between you and me.
Yeah, I'm not a professional politician. That's the difference. You can answer a question.
I've actually given pardons. I was governor of the state of Indiana. It usually follows.
Well,
a
answer the
finding of
question,
guilt
you
and
clown.
contrition by the individual that's been convicted. So, look, if I'm president of the United States, we'll give fair consideration to any pardon request. But if I'm mad,
That's not
That's
answering.
political.
The fair consideration. Yeah, you
it's not about looking
clown.
back at
That was our man on the ground up there.
2021.
Yeah, just leave me alone. I'm gonna watch that too. I was debating on which one I wanted to watch, but I saw Crowder streaming the debate, so I decided to watch this first.
And it ended with a prayer, so help me God. It was a promise that I made.
I
to the
really don't
American
like Mike
people,
Pence.
More like a statement.
But I also made it.
That's not really a prayer.
Just
It
saying.
made it to my heavenly Father.
Kind of a demand to the Lord.
Our
Every day for
Father.
4 years, I sought to keep that oath.
And everyone on this stage needs to make it clear whether or not they'll do the same. If they earn this job and the confidence of the American people.
A vice president?
Now, look, I've made it clear. I had.
Yeah, I heard people saying that Vivek is owned by Big Pharma. I haven't seen anything to suggest that he's owned by Big Pharma. I know he started some drug companies and got some things approved by the CDC or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen anything that suggests that to me. But if I'm missing something, send it to me in my Twitter or something.
Beer. Anytime Trump is mentioned, January 6th or 2020, moderator interrupts a candidate. Any thug life moment, and you finish your drink anytime a candidate mentions a Democrat other than Biden.
Exercised or taken.
We'll also add anti-thug life moment, meaning a low light, which is pretty much every time Mike Pence speaks.
How about if Martha has a wardrobe malfunction?
I had no right to overturn the election, and Kamala Harris will have no right
That'll
to
be the
overturn
halftime show.
the election when we beat them in 2024.
Thank you, Vice President.
Oh, yeah. That's a little presumptuous if the guy is you.
He said leave it to the American people. That's what they were doing on January 6th.
To the Ukraine war.
Right. In my opinion.
The administration
it doesn't get any more.
No, I understand. Yeah.
More. Regardless of that, the specifics of that plan, is there anyone on stage who would not support
Can I chime in on this?
the increase of more funding to Ukraine?
Pence.
We would not support it.
Europe needs to step up.
Vivek, only one.
Hey, Ron, it's a raise your hand question.
Can I ask you why they have Dallas Cowboy logos?
I was gonna say the podium? Because they're America's
Well,
team.
because McCallum was a cheerleader.
Is a good answer. Good answer.
Not doing that, and I think we need to do. And I
Excuse
think
me,
our
Paul Lynn is
support should be
talking.
contingent on them doing it, and I would have support in China to be able to take
China.
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 Do what we need to do.
Let me
with
raise
China.
my finger.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not support an increase of funding to Ukraine?
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous.
There you go.
Good.
Vivek again.
Good. Point that finger.
Somebody else's border when we should
Pretty
use
thug
those
life.
same military
Yeah, thug life
resources
drink.
to prevent across the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States
Boom.
of America.
Boom, drink. What did I say at the beginning of this? Bring in immigration. That was a winning issue for Donald Trump. It's still a winning issue, by the way, for that base who voted for Donald Trump. People in the
100%.
Rust Belt and people in
Build the
states who
wall.
experience that with the southern border. It's the one area where you can pick up some of the left pieces of Donald Trump. People say, you know what? He didn't really deliver on his promise. I will finish what Donald Trump
I
started.
think people in New York and Chicago and Martha's Vineyard are starting to
They might have
experience that
strong
problem
opinions
a little
about
bit
that.
because we shipped them to you.
Vivek is 4 for 5 with 3 triples and a home run.
I don't understand the sports reference, but I understand that's good, correct?
I thought I was sitting next to Diane Carroll. What?
Look, I did go to Ukraine, and I went to Ukraine.
Hold on, listen to
because
this.
I wanted to see
Put a cheese
for
sticks.
myself
If the cabbage was
what
fresh.
Vladimir Putin's army was doing to the free Ukrainian people. And let me tell you, I want you all to look around this arena tonight and imagine that every one of these seats was filled. If every one of them was filled, there would still
That's
be
climate change right there.
2,500 more children outside to make over 20,000 who have been
I hate him,
abducted,
and I hate
stolen,
everything he stands for, but he's
ripped from their
pretty good
mothers
at a debate.
and fathers,
I gotta say.
and brought
Chris
up
Christie?
to-
Yeah.
No.
No, I hate what he says. I don't agree with any of it.
Out of your mind.
Let me just say
What are
this.
you talking
Let me
about?
just say this. Chris Christie decided he wanted to go over and see President Zelensky. Right? No, don't worry. Just put him anywhere.
We have a new intern PA, by the way.
he's
been
doing a
very
good job.
helpful.
It's
Look, he's got
nerve-wracking
Tourette's.
sometimes.
Quit
Don't worry.
picking
Yeah. It's the good Tourette's, though, the funny kind.
Careful. You might appear in media, Ike.
Got Lou Gehrig bringing out refreshments to us.
Take him to a Yankees game. You'll be your best friend.
Tonight. I had to serve beers. To a racist skinny.
Chris Christie right now is lying through his teeth. He didn't go over there to see what was happening firsthand on the ground. We have media
Also,
reports
food
for
stuck
that,
in
Chris
them.
Christie. You understand what's going on by hearing. Look, I get it. Maybe you think that there's a little bit more to the story. You went over there because you have a campaign that is faltering, and you're only relevant somehow. By the way, he
went to
doesn't
Ukraine?
need lyrics to John Bon Jovi to put next to the freaking Oscar that.
Yeah, just leave me alone. I'm not a Floridian, but I know. I didn't like how DeSantis started his campaign. First of all, I didn't like how he pretty much got voted in by the MAGA base, and then he secretly he quietly is doing everything that you would do if you was running for president. and he like secretly very like I don't know, just was his whole launch was weird. He like used I feel like he used the MAGA vote to get where he was and like stabbed the MAGA voters in the back. So I understand what you're saying.
The old Soviet sphere.
You've made
of
your point,
influence.
Vice President.
Am I imagining this, or is Mike Pence defending funding Ukraine in a proxy war?
Yep.
Yes.
He did that last time.
The Republican voters want right now?
Nope.
Is that what you want? You comment. By the way, hit like if you think that's a horrible tack to take.
It's what the neocons want.
Yep.
Communist China. And we are driving Russia further into China's arms. The Russia-China military alliance
and they're very
is the
small.
single greatest threat we face. Nobody in either political party is talking about it. And I am the only non-political
Let the Indian finish.
Keep us out of war.
Mr. Vice President.
Moderators interrupting. Drink.
Yep.
Mr. Vice President.
We're far too good at these drinking games. We have to scale it back.
That Ukraine will never be in NATO, and then somehow
Mr. Vice President.
China will not think about taking Taiwan. We achieve peace through strength.
Mr. Vice
Which is
President.
arming Taiwan.
Okay. Here we go.
Am I right?
Yes. Everyone in the Republican Party believes that Taiwan should be armed, should be protected. That's something that makes sense. Ukraine, Russia, I'm sorry, it's not our fight. In Ukraine, you want to be in NATO? Guess what? You have a bunch of back payments.
Yep.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you were mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
They shouldn't be allowed to
The
be in
reality
NATO.
is that today, Ukraine is not a priority for the United States of America. And I think that the same people who took us into the Iraq War, the same people who took us into the Vietnam War, you cannot start another no-win war. And I do not want to get to the point where we're sending our military resources abroad when we could be better using them here at home to protect our own borders, protect the homeland.
All right.
Perfect.
Someone play the theme from Homeland every time he appears.
China and Russia do not have a military alliance. That's a very unlikely alliance to have. Right now they have somewhat of an economic, China and Russia.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have a military. I think he said that, either misspoke or he says that often. Maybe he's assuming that will happen.
He means to say that they have a vested interest in each other at this point.
About it. It's like a friendship agreement.
Friendship.
That's what I hear.
That's a little Mortal Kombat for you.
Territorial dispute. Why?
First of all, the American president needs to have moral clarity. They need to know the difference between right and wrong. They need to know the difference between good and evil. Right. When you look at the situation with Russia and Ukraine, here you have a pro-American country that was invaded by a thug. So when you want to talk about what has been given to Ukraine, less than 3.5%.
A pro-American country? You mean the only other country in that sector of the world that hosts drag shows?
If you look at the percentages per GDP, 11 of the European countries have given more than the U.S. But what's really important is go back to when China and Russia held hands, shook hands before the Olympics, and named themselves unlimited partners. A win for Russia is a win for China. We have to know that. Ukraine
Nikki,
is
the guys need a sandwich.
So what do you do? Tell me what you do, Nikki. Come on. Give me the answer.
Look, here's what people don't want to say. They want to say, pro-America and international relations. And of course, this is okay, are you willing to go to war?
Yeah.
And by the way, $135 billion. This is the only time in history where you can spend more than many countries' GDP in assisting a war and claim that you are not in a war.
Right.
Just to be clear, the world views it as the United States being engaged in this war. You may not like it, you may not agree with that, but that is true. And I understand the arguments regarding Ukraine and Russia. I understand it. But when you actually look at the amount of money spent, and I understand that's a drop in the bucket compared to the Inflation Reduction Act. I get that. But again, it is the principle of, do we want to be the country who is involved in proxy wars with countries who, by the way, she just said pro-American. That's not true about Ukraine. Certainly not true about Zelensky. That is complete and total horseshit. That's neocon talking points. Let's go back.
And
Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this lie.
Catfight.
You've been pushing this lie all week.
He just called her a fake Indian bitch.
Okay, let me address that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to address each of those.
They're all going up to Vivek.
Of course they
Of course, they have to. He's the best one there.
Swat it.
Stop hitting yourself.
America, less safe. You have no foreign policy.
Don't let her overtalk you.
And you know what?
She will.
They all have to go after the best.
So our relationship with Israel will never be stronger than by the end of my first term. But it's not a client relationship. It is a friendship. And you know what friends do? Friends help each other stand on their own 2 feet. So I will lead Abraham Accords 2.0. I will partner with Israel to make sure Iran never is nuclear armed. But you know what I love about Israel? And I've been there probably in the last 10 years more than most people on this stage. You know what I love about them? I love their border policies. I love their tough on crime policies.
Boom. Thug life moment. He is bringing it to immigration, which was the singular winning issue for Donald Trump in 2016. Got away from it a little bit. He knows what he's doing.
Yes, no, I want to learn from those and apply those to protect our homeland, Nikki.
Nikki, I said mustard, not mayonnaise on it.
Okay, Governor DeSantis, you were mentioned at the territorial dispute.
I just want him, when she's pointing at him, he goes, "You know, damn it, tell me to point."
President of the United States, your first
so
obligation
protect the American
is to
people.
defend our country and its people.
Yes.
And that means you're sending all this money, but you're not doing what we need to do to secure our own border. We have tens of thousands of people who are being killed because
Bullshit.
I know.
Bullshit.
What
Look,
a
I'm going to go by rote here, and please bring it up. I think you probably have this in the change, build a wall, change my mind. I think the most generous estimate, if I'm not mistaken, for the wall being built, as Donald Trump originally proposed it, would have been about $20 billion. I think some people tried to say it was $40 billion, but the average somewhere was around $20 billion. And illegal immigrants cost the American taxpayer an average of $116 billion a year. So if you're talking about, let's call it $40 billion. Let's use the Salon sources as Governor Christie and Nikki Haley want to use themselves. They're using these talking points today from the far left. Okay, $116 billion is what's cost to the American public, okay, the American taxpayer every single year, $40 billion. Compare that to the amount of money pledged to Ukraine. That's what it would cost to secure the border physically. Of course, we need better policies as well, like deportation, no more Dreamer Act, no more amnesty. We need all those things in conjunction. But the point is, it is a drop in the bucket when you're talking about securing the American people. So when people say this is a very small number in comparison to our deficit, to our spending, but it's a very large number, $135 billion dedicated to Ukraine in comparison to what it would cost to at least secure our border. That's why Republican voters don't like these people, just to be clear. Secure our borders first, and then maybe you can make a case to be a neocon foreign policy hawk.
And not with the wall, with the military.
All of the above.
I'm serious.
Yeah, he wants turrets.
Yep.
It's like Congo for him.
I want landmines. They work beautiful.
I want it booby-trapped like Kevin McAllister's uncle's New York apartment.
I'm serious, though. When they bring up a wall, I laugh, even when Trump
Yep.
brings it up. Really?
But we need
the
all
strongest
of the
military on earth. Come on.
Literally, it should be the most defended border on earth for the best country on earth. I mean, it makes no sense for the strongest, most like the strongest, best country on earth have one of the weakest borders as of now on earth. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you can just walk right across. Should be the most heavily defended border on the planet.
The Green Monster.
To prolong a war.
Yes, to prolong a war while the American
what's your
public is
endgame,
struggling.
Haley?
Yeah.
What's Dracula talking about?
But Biden administration wanted to put 87,000 people in the IRS as opposed to giving the money and the support we need to our own border patrol.
Okay.
Well done, Mr. Brigham.
Thank you for letting me talk again, guys.
Thank you, Lugosi.
Thanks for reminding the people I'm here.
Yes.
The 87,000
My foot
IRS
hurts.
agents and hire or double the number of Border Patrol agents. I just left Yuma, Arizona about 2 weeks ago.
By the way, he's going to get fact-checked on that, just to be clear, and just don't be fooled by this tomorrow. They'll say, Tim Scott, it's not 85,000 IRS agents. It's 80-something thousand new IRS employees. They're not officially agents. Who cares? It doesn't matter. A bunch of pencil-pushing, pencil-necked pussies with Glocks. It's still a problem.
He was in Yuma, Arizona. Apparently forgot the sunblock. Listen,
Our
what?
national security watch list have been caught at our border. How many have not been caught at our southern border?
I think he was was about 350 to Yuma.
350.
We could finish the wall. For $5 billion more, we could have the military-grade technology to surveil our southern border to stop the
Thank
flow
you,
of
military.
Hold on. I don't want to look at them crossing illegally. Are we?
I want to stop them.
What are we doing?
You have to see them before you shoot them.
I want a laser wall that vaporizes them.
Oh, yes.
Government
I want
has
super soakers filled with cat piss.
They'll
You're
turn
just
around.
petty. What if they have cuts?
That's
They'll turn
very
around.
cheap. I'm saving them money. You ever get sprayed with cap? Oh.
It would also solve our feral cat problem in our inner cities.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1.
We're killing it right now.
Oh, Dracula's talking about that. Let me
300
tell you
people a day.
something.
We're taking mass casualties, and that's a statistic, but these are sons and daughters, nieces and nephews that we're losing.
Talking about fentanyl.
Talking about R.
Troops
Kelly.
down there flying night helicopter missions from San Diego to the Gulf Coast, trying to stop these transnational criminal organizations. They've got better funding on their side than we've got on our side.
He did say trans. He has to be
He's done a
careful.
nice job, this guy.
He's done a valiant effort.
Seriously, for the little time he gets.
With Mexico,
Vice President Pence,
policy.
images from earlier this month.
We secured
Vice President, it really doesn't help. I'm asking a question. Earlier this
And all he does is smirk. Like, is it just me, or does Mike Pence, is he acting like he has this in the bag?
He does. He's delusional.
He really is.
Okay. What's Richard Pryor doing in the paper?
Would you
And I was
authorize-
starting to cross the border. This shit crazy. Ain't there some shit? Cocaine.
Force used by the Border Patrol, law enforcement as needed to
I was
protect
crossing
the
the
border.
border, and then fentanyl had me. Lost my goddamn mind, man.
Military has to be used for intelligence gathering purposes. This is
What
not
would you
unusual.
know about that?
Whenever I was in the Bush administration, we went down there and met.
Oh, that's a
met
ringing
with
endorsement.
He looks like he's in a hockey rink right now.
His help and going.
Hey
after the
guys, you remember when I didn't do a dang thing to stop the problem because it's terrible today?
That's true. Add the mustache. What's the name of that actor? Was the owner in Slapshot?
Yes.
They came out here to see the RNC, not this bunch of pussies. The toughest candidates in the Federal League.
Oh my God, it's perfect.
Bring in Mexico as a partner. We have to use economic pressure to accomplish that. President Obrador has not been helpful, and we have to use economic
God, this
pressure
guy
that this
bores me to
administration is not using. The rule of law has to matter on both
How we
sides.
dealt with this in Arkansas was we didn't have it.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about Mexico like he lives in Texas.
We dealt for it.
Definitely, Crowder Show is awesome.
You know, in Little Rock, there was two Mexicans starting some shit.
You know what I did with that?
I put a stop to that in a hurry. I took away the
I said, don't start nothing.
Any idea the damage they can do with a toothbrush and a bent back paperclip?
Exactly.
Sending U.S.
Silverado.
Special Forces over
Martha,
the
you look
border
terrific. Did I mention that 12
into
times?
Mexico to take out fentanyl labs,
Take
to
off your
take
top.
out drug cartel operations.
Yes.
Would you support that kind of American
Yes.
military?
Look at him,
use?
like somebody
Yes.
smelled the
And I
fart.
will do it on day one.
100%.
Here's the thing.
Special forces to take out fentanyl labs.
I will say Ron DeSantis has answered very clearly
Yes,
on
he
this
has.
question before, where he said, no, I will not support amnesty whatsoever. He's been very clear about that. He just needs to be clear in this debate.
Not a part of your southern border. We have to reestablish
I'll give you
the
the
rule of law, and we have to defend our people. The President of the United States has got to use all available powers as Commander-in-Chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming
Against
across,
the globalists.
yes, we're gonna use
Finish the
lethal force.
sentence.
Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more
globalists.
tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady
tits.
in Texas named Tracy, and her son took one Percocet
Sally's Angels.
that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist organizations? You're darn right I would.
Does that mean bombing them?
Would have been great if not for the "you're darn right I would." I'm sorry, that's just not a good way to frame it.
No,
you're darn tootin'. You're darn tootin'. El Chapo?
Yeah.
El Chapo, I have a little something for you. And guess what? It's not snack time.
Right, that should have been a Thug Life.
I'm not-
moment.
It's an Apache.
I'm not.
Fentanyl, could it be Satan?
I'm not talking malarkey.
Yes. I don't want any more of your tomfoolery. Okay? This isn't the local town hall hootenanny.
You know, Jill had some fentanyl in the kitchen.
It was awesome.
Humanity,
He
the
was
wave
cooking
of
it, and there was a
fentanyl
fire.
That's been eloquently described here as
This guy's a mannequin at Sears.
tragedy across this country. But Martha, you began this
Which closed a
evening
few
talking
years ago.
about who is
Yep, definitely. Dave Landau was definitely a valuable asset to the show.
You went to
because you know where the
funerals.
room is.
It's
doesn't
like saying,
matter.
I played in the professional league. Right, and you were dead last and you scored nothing.
around the clock. I negotiated the Remain in Mexico policy on behalf of the President
say he
of the United
rocked around
States.
the
And
clock?
Asa, you're so right. It's because we used
Oh my God, he's
economic
agreeing with
pressure
Asa. Here's how to
bring the
back yourself.
Mexicans to the table, and they allowed us to have people wait in Mexico while they applied for asylum. It ended asylum abuse overnight. We got the Mexicans to deploy their National Guard to their southern border and to our southern border
Trump
did, stupid.
before. And I want to promise you, as President of the United States of America,
Damn
I will
Mexicans.
engage Mexico the exact same way, and we will partner with the
With
Mexican
force.
military, and we will hunt down and destroy the cartels.
This guy, here's the
that are
problem with
claiming
Mike Pence.
No.
He wants to claim credit for Donald Trump's presidency, and
Yeah,
we all and then turn on him when it's
right.
convenient.
That's
Literally.
exactly right. Pivot when it
And by the way, he's like, we will hunt down and destroy the No, you won't. The cartel will always come back. You know why? Because they have a product and there is demand. It may be somebody else. It may look a little bit different, but that is what history has taught us. That means you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Mike.
Also, I have to get cheap ass fillers in Mexico.
That's true. Yeah. Tijuana. Great
Ass
market.
is starting to sag. You know what I mean? I look like Michael Douglas.
With the folks that are here is to,
You mean his throat?
again, as we've talked about all night tonight,
Christie's still here.
we have to have law and
Somebody
order
throw
in
him a
this country.
salmon.
We have to enforce the law. And what that means is to make sure that
catches it
people
with
who
his claw.
come here illegally are
Have
not
we hit every fat
rewarded
joke there?
for being here illegally.
No, there's still more.
We have so many wonderful people from around the world who are waiting in line, following the law to try to come here and pursue the American dream. And those people are waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, as you're in line at Wendy's.
With the problem
Oh my
here,
God.
we have to have them detained. We have to make sure that they are not rewarded for having broken the law. And one last thing on this fentanyl issue. With China, we can't take our eye off of that ball. Yes, it's important that we secure the border. Very important, as I just said. But China is sending these chemicals to these drug cartels for them to create the fentanyl
That's
that
a
is
good
killing
point.
hundreds of thousands of our citizens.
Let's bomb
the
China.
Chinese are engaging in an act of war against us.
Let's take 'em
killing
both
our
out.
citizens.
Just drop him. That'd be a Moab they wouldn't be
There you
expecting.
go.
And to try to straighten
Oh,
that
no!
relationship out.
Give him 20 minutes in a porta potty and fucking drop that off.
Oh, that Chris Christie's will block out of the sun. We have to fight in the shade.
Arthur's looking fine.
We have a lot of
He's
issues.
going to
that
roll him at the
Americans
Mexican
care about.
He doesn't
Like
do
the
bad
Lost
for a
Boys.
fat guy I hate.
As millions
What did
of
he say,
American
Gerald?
children are
did
not
Gerald
proficient in reading or math after this.
What did he say?
I don't know. What did you say?
No, it was what Nick
was
said
a
to make
Hulk
me laugh.
reference, I
I
think.
get
He
it. I
doesn't
get
do
it.
bad. Doesn't do bad for a fat guy I hate.
Oh,
All right, so really quickly, I just want to go back through a few things that happened while we were doing that. We're going to go to a Trump
a Trump clip?
A Trump clip.
Yeah,
here in
from
just
with
1
Tucker
minute.
Carlson.
But one of my people that I love to hate, Robert Reich, said there's no such thing as abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Governor DeSantis is telling a dangerous lie.
Yeah.
That is not true.
Well,
at all.
ask Governor Northam that, but he might be too busy
exactly.
doing blackface in his retirement phase.
glad I had so much Northern material.
So I'm trying to go to the next Trump
did.
clip here. Gosh, it's like 50 pages back up here.
It's
I gotta find it.
you mean President Donald Trump with Tucker
Yeah,
Carlson?
with Tucker
So
Carlson.
we are covering, and keep this in the lower third here, just so people can see that they're advertising Birch Gold. Oh, I guess they don't have the. I guess they don't have Devane doing it anymore. So look, they're really
No,
upgrading.
they get Pence's nephew.
Yes.
Fucking Phil Pence.
There were a couple of them that they gave me. They gave me one really quick. So I don't know. Let's go to the
So
Gavin Newsom.
And
one
you can use the
really quickly.
hashtag Crowder GOP Debate, $10 off Mug Club at Crowder GOP Debate. It's a promo code you use, lighthousecrowder.com/Mug Club. We are covering both the debate as well as the Tucker Carlson interview that just dropped with Donald Trump. Which is this next clip, Gerald?
So this one is him talking about Gavin Newsom.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
There's another one they want us to get to, but we'll have to get that.
Okay, Gavin
Yeah, they
Newsom.
gotta give me the names if they want them.
All right, Gavin Newsom. Let's go.
Newsom.
Newsom, right? I mean,
Could be. I mean, you know, I always got along well with him, believe it or not. But could be him, could be somebody else. He's got a big load on his shoulders because you look at California, what's happened.
You know,
I
Paul
don't know if the
Pelosi dropped it.
people really, the people that vote for him, I don't even know if they care. You know, you look at so many of the things that are going on, and people don't seem to be. In the old days, if you had a bad record, it meant a lot. Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. Well, I actually, I don't care what he has to say about Gavin Newsom. We'll see if he ends up running against that guy. But it's civil war, like it's actually open conflict that he's talking about.
Oh.
I think maybe
We have that clip?
Yeah, we have that one.
Great. Let's hear this. This is President Donald Trump talking about
8 seconds.
Civil war, or as Mike Pence refers to it, something he will never touch.
Do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? We seem to be moving towards something.
I don't know, because I don't know what it, I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that
I
I've never
definitely
seen.
think it's
That's
possible.
Probably a bad combination.
Donald Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Why is he interviewing him in the slave galley? Belly of a
Donald
ship.
Trump, do you see any?
12
I don't know,
years,
there's a
Tucker's
level of
dead.
Passion. I would say peacefully go, but last time that didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Look, I don't know. I would think there shouldn't be any type of civil unrest, but if I don't win, I can't answer that question. I can't speak for them. A lot of people say if I don't win, they might try and take out the government. I hope it doesn't happen. I say, no, that's the worst thing.
That's what they told me.
That's what people tell me.
I
There's
knew
nothing
it.
I can do.
That's what they tell me.
His style of pawning it off on someone else.
It's just
someone else always.
I've
is
been
the
talking about that
originator
since
of the idea.
2015
I
in
know.
the Trump
Very-
talks.
yeah, he's very
A lot
good
of
at that.
people tell me.
A lot of people.
Like, who's saying that? A lot of people say that. A lot of people. You wouldn't know. I know these people.
He's a great.
That's what I was
It really
told.
is. Like, here's the thing. When people say Donald Trump is a liar, no. Look, Joe Biden is a compulsive liar.
Yeah,
Donald Trump's he's like a he's a bit of a bullshit artist, and he exaggerates.
There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference.
I mean, and friggin' Biden's lying about shit that affects everyday
affects
Americans.
everybody, yeah.
Trump might have been exaggerated about how many people's at the inauguration.
Right, like Joe
Big
Biden will
fucking
say.
difference.
Joe Biden will say, Bidenomics has helped every single American when they are struggling more than ever before.
Yeah.
Donald Trump will
Right.
say, my wall will be the prettiest wall. Like, all right, it might be okay.
Do you like Z-Brick?
Prettiest wall.
My wall will be like the Bo Derek of walls, a perfect 10. That's what people say. I say, maybe it's more like a Kathy Ireland wall. They say it's Bo Derek and 10. All right.
So we've got the debate coming back up here, but a lot of people are saying that the Trump interview, it wasn't like, it's not Donald Trump being Donald Trump. It's Donald Trump
Seems
being
like
a
he
little
has some
bit
advisors in his ear.
Right, yeah, exactly. He's
Well,
not, he's not punching back at stuff. Like, it's not the funny
When was this
comical-
recorded? Do we know?
I think
a couple of days ago.
2 days
Okay, he's
yeah.
got a lot hanging over.
So, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, like 700 years.
Yeah, look, that
Like
would get
700
anybody.
years in
About
prison.
93 charges.
Even Mr. DeSantis. We are back. Hashtag
That's
crowded
a
GOP
lot.
debate, and
Yeah.
We'll see who has the balls after this to sit down at the Rumble booth. Onto the debate.
States lock their kids out of school for a year and a half. That was wrong. We stood up. I took a lot of fire for that.
Yeah, you did.
I was pilloried by the media, but I stood for our kids. And as president, I'll stand for you and your kids as well. But we have to make sure that what our schools are doing is focusing on solid academics. In Florida, we eliminated critical race theory from our K-12.
I love him for all this.
Yep.
We
Yeah, he's
eliminated-
strong
without a
here.
doubt the
I'm
best
fine with
governor
him
in the
too.
country.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt. And that's
we
a
have-
pretty good.
Yeah.
Importance
Credit to
of
have his
American
He's the guy with the
civics.
best record and the worst rhetorical skills, I would say. That's the thing. He's not great at speaking right now. He's not great at invigorating people, but he has a fantastic record.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll learn that. Like Pence. Look at Pence. He's a master.
Big ears.
Any foundation in what it means to be an American.
Mr. Ramaswamy, Mr. Ramaswamy.
No, I agree.
Ramaswamy.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
Who's
hold
cleaning
on,
up though?
Senator.
Like we said.
You've said that the Department of Education, the FBI, the ATF, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS, the Department of Commerce,
Education.
many of these should not exist.
That's correct.
So,
Good.
to the education
Brett.
question, how would you
Thug
deal
life
with the
moment.
crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. Every
There we
high
go.
school senior should have to pass the same civics test that frankly every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a
Boy, did she
citizen
pass
of
that
this
test.
country. And the fact of the matter is, look, there's
Civics.
part of
Richard
education
Dreyfuss right now with his
policy
new
that also
documentary. He's
rests
like,
with
I've
the
been saying
family.
that for years.
I didn't grow up in money. But you know the word privilege gets used a lot? Well, you know what? I did have the ultimate privilege of two parents in the house with a focus on educational achievement. And I want every kid to enjoy that. So part of the
Thug life.
problem is we also have a federal government that pays single women more not to have a man in the house than to have a man in the house, contributing to an epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that
Yeah,
goes
but
hand
it's
in
a
hand.
burning hip hop scene.
But yes.
Don't stop that.
But that is an important point to make because a lot of people who are labeled when we talk about the fatherless households in the black community,
Yep.
it's about 50-50 split. Half the time it's the moms pushing them out because they want an additional check from the government. And the men actually want to support their children, but they can have their wages garnished, they can be put in jail, and the mother has no burden of proof. Be clear, when we talk about fatherless black households, he just made a good point. He's talking about mothers who are incentivized by the government.
Yes.
Yep.
I've been blaming them for years.
Was that factual though?
I'm serious.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy.
Of this issue?
No,
Yep,
I'm saying
they-
North Dakota made a priority.
Yeah, but I heard they used to have like social workers coming to people's houses to make sure it wasn't fathers in the home, and mothers obviously would take the money, but they'll be getting paid more to keep the father out of the home than they will get to have the father in the home. Just leave me alone. Hey DeSantis, what about my non-essential salon? I had to shut down for 2 months. Yeah, I find it weird that people act like DeSantis. I mean, I do think he was the best, probably one of the best governors, but I do remember him having a lockdown, him pushing the vaccine, like everybody did. But like it seems like everybody just give DeSantis a pass on it. Like when it first came out, everybody was pushing the vaccine. DeSantis was pushing the mask and the vaccine and all that. And he had the lockdowns out. He probably had them the shortest out of most of the other Republicans, but he definitely had them.
It's innovation. We're doing it the same way we did it 50 years ago with innovation, not regulation. I would get rid of
That's
the
not
Department
true.
of Education.
That's
I
not
would
true.
get-
We're not doing it the same way we did it 50 years ago. As a matter of fact, we're doing it worse than before there was a federal Department of Education, just to be clear. When you hear this, by the way, Gen Z and a lot of millennials, you go, what would we do without a federal Department of Education? Ask your parents, the boomers who you mock all the time because it's a cool meme. They likely went to school before there was a federal Department of Education, and they actually tested higher in standardized testing scores because it was state-run and run by municipalities. So this idea that you need a federal Department of Education, no, it has failed, and actually the objective measurements that we have, the metrics, shows that it has gotten worse. That's where a guy like, I always forget his last name, Dugam, whatever, lost me. Let's hear Nikki Haley. Burgum.
Crazy woke things happening in schools, but we've got to get these kids reading. If a child can't read by third grade, they're 4 times less likely
8 days after I was born, the Department of Education came around. October 17th, 1979.
You're old.
I am not old. I am 43, not yet 44. I agree 100%.
So we
though.
blame you.
Old.
Yeah, but so Carrie Lake had this right? So we talked about, we did an interview with Carrie Lake up
You
there.
guys still have ice
She
cream?
said that the money should follow the student. You want to change public education? You start incentivizing schools by letting children and parents, obviously parents make the decision, but the children, the dollars follow them. They get to pick where they go. If you have a good school and you're desirable, more people go
By the
there.
way, the black and white and the gray issues coming up, it's the one that was controversial. It's the one that went on for an hour and a half with, of course, a black woman and a daughter who went to private school from a wealthy suburban area. Guess what? They attacked me. You'll see this. All of them were very good conversations. They were furious. They demanded that I not air it. And after that, I said, hold on a second. Let's see if we can find common ground on one thing.
I'm sorry.
It was a segment that I did
other
that's going to
they,
be uploaded as a video.
But who's they?
It was a black woman and her daughter saying, we don't want you to air this. We don't think this is productive. And then at the end of it, they agreed. They said, well, yeah, school choice, a school voucher program. They said, how can anyone be against that? I said, hold on a second. Hold on. What if I were to tell you that the only reason the Democrats oppose it is because they claim it's racist? They said, well, that's bullshit. I said, that's my point exactly. That'll be coming out next week or the week after. Let's hear Mike
Did you
Pence
say that, or did you say, what if I offer you a carton of Cools?
I both.
Let me say,
I had
This is my problem with a lot of black people. Like they're so like brainwashed and so set in thinking a certain way. Like they argue for things that's not in their best interest, and they don't even know what they be arguing for.
Also shut
No,
down the
get
Federal
rid of it.
Department of Education, and when I
Well,
was
good.
governor,
There's one
we
answer that's
doubled
good.
Every
the
time
size
they
of
put the camera on, it's 1988 for some reason.
Exactly.
and
Isn't
we'll
it?
give school choice to every family in America.
So
When
Stop
I-
with the boys
Yeah,
regulate.
hold on. You were in the White House. You didn't get it
That's
done.
Claim
right.
credit for
Thank
everything
you.
else, and then he wants to pass the buck.
We're gonna do this. You didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
But you know what I'd
Why
say,
should I believe
Gerald?
you
I'd go, Gerald. I was the vice president of a crisis.
Okay,
I went to
fine,
funerals. They
fine,
wouldn't let me
yes.
do anything.
the difference between somebody who's an automaton and somebody who's actually a thinking agent in the White House, which we don't have in there today.
This guy's so much
And I will
brighter than
tell you, I
anybody
wanna
else.
address Vice
Except
President
Yeah, I
Trump's
know.
comment.
I like DeSantis.
I think we do need somebody of
I
a
like
different
Vivek better than
generation to lead this
DeSantis.
nation
Yes, we do.
forward. Look at the way I've run this campaign.
Yes.
Going to the south side of Chicago, to
telling you
Kensington,
he's gonna blow up
in the
after
middle
this.
of Philadelphia, where traditional
Yeah, but the clause will
Republican
come out
candidates
for sure.
don't go.
Oh, yeah.
So what?
We have an opportunity to
when you
build
know
a
you're doing
multi-ethnic,
right. No, exactly.
working-class majority to deliver a landslide. And I think I'm the only candidate in this race, young or old, black or
is it a
white,
hockey
to
rink?
bring all of those voters along to deliver a Reagan 1980 revolution. We're going to do it in 2020.
Is he saying that because he's between black and white?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's actually darker than Tim Scott.
But he's a
You can
nice-
do a side by side.
No, he
I guarantee you.
Oh,
I don't
God,
think
no.
Certainly
I
South Indians
don't
are.
think
Maybe
he
not him.
is.
Tim Scott looks
Maybe
like
not him, but South Indians are darker.
I'm all for him. I like him.
I love him. I love him. I love his food. I love his culture.
Hutchinson, you have 30 seconds on the same question.
On education, first of all, look at Arkansas. We have to
Shut
compete
up,
with
silly.
China. I built computers.
You're going to hell,
science
Nick.
education.
Would you like to see
We led
somebody's
the
fist
nation in
just
computer
catch him on
When
the side of the
when has
head?
anyone wanted to look at Arkansas?
Exactly. What if they?
Look at Arkansas. We've got Walmart. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
Look at all these trailer parks. Could you pan? Could you pan to this trailer park?
BM. So with Vivek, are you saying that he's big pharma because he was in the industry, like creating drugs, and had the whole his whole products and all that stuff, or are you saying that he's big pharma because he's funded by big pharma or something like that? I think there's a big difference between the two. I just want to know what one of you. Why are you saying that he's big pharma? Because I haven't seen anything that suggests that he would be controlled by big pharma.
Our nation was founded upon the Judeo-Christian values that has made this the greatest nation on God's green earth. I'm a big believer in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly.
Lives right
above
now
all
going,
that
and
we
they
ask
counter
or
you as
imagine.
3/5 as a
Our
person.
responsibility
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly
should
what
be
they're
the
saying.
model
Good point, yeah.
behavior we want others to follow. On education, the only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions.
That's
They are
violent.
standing
Good
in
answer.
the doorhouse of our
That's
kids,
too violent, that image.
locking them into failing schools.
Shoot them
and
in the head?
locking
Will
them
that work?
out of the greatest future they could have.
Tried to soften it. I don't know.
As president,
I don't want him
Governor DeSantis,
paralyzed.
Would you support some mandatory military service
Oh,
for
don't
all?
Jesus, I thought that was on the show.
Mandatory military
I'm
service.
somebody that volunteered to serve, inspired by September 11th, and I deployed to Iraq alongside U.S. Navy
That's why I
SEALs
like
in
this
places
guy,
like
too.
Fallujah, Ramadi, and it's
walked the
something
walk.
that I think has taught me. You know, when you go in that,
I do like that about
environment,
DeSantis.
anything you
Nick
have,
DiPaolo thought there was an
your personal
assassination
agenda,
attempt tonight.
I really thought there was a shot.
focusing on
I go, Trump's not even there. God, these guys mean business.
Just some guy. Vivek! It'd be Vivek.
One of the
John Malkovich coming with his polymer gun.
One of
from
the
In Line of
Murdoch
Fire.
kids.
True, yeah.
You killed that duck, asshole.
Good movie.
Okay, now for something.
Now for something completely different. She lifts her shirt.
This is for you, Governor Christie. Do you believe that the recent spike in UFO encounters?
Oh gosh.
Why are they talking about UFOs?
And you wonder why legacy media is
I know.
dying.
Who just said that? I get the UFO question.
The
Chris.
one who looks like a UFO.
I think it was Christy.
It was.
People are taking this a lot more seriously, and we're hearing that, you know, there are things going on that people aren't aware of. So, if
We
you
take
were
this about as
president,
seriously as you
Governor
do.
Christie, would you level
Although he
with
likes the flying
American
tea saucers.
people
Could
about
a,
what
yeah,
the
could a
government
flying saucer
knows
get off the
about
planet
these
if you're in it?
possible-
They bring donuts.
And especially coming from a woman from New Jersey, I think it's horrible that just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects and Martians.
Thank you for telling us what UFO
We're different, but
stands
we're not
for.
that different. Look,
Answer the question,
of
bro.
course, the job of the President of the United States is to level with the American people about everything. The job of the President of the United States is
Well, you
to
need a
stand
level
up
to find
for
your belt
truth.
buckle.
That's not entirely
The job of the
accurate.
President of the United States is to be a role model for our children
Yeah, not a
and
role.
our grandchildren. So whether it was UFOs or this problem of
So we need to pick an
education,
overweight man to be a role model?
Yeah, not the
and
guy.
I started
12-inch,
this in
He could be the
2010.
male Lizzo.
12-inch
After the
hole
teachers
wig.
unions in New Jersey.
He's not
and
funny.
drove
No, he
them down
can't.
to an all-time low popularity rating because they were putting themselves before our kids. That
What does this
is
have
the
to do with
biggest threat to our
UFOs?
Nothing.
country, not
He doesn't want to
UFOs.
answer
Literally.
that question. It's a
Boy, did
stupid
he
question.
pivot.
I don't fault him for this.
It's a stupid question. It's a really dumb question.
Live from the spin room right here.
You're a
in the
spin room.
Fiserv
Shut it.
Forum
What is this?
with reaction
Hey, that's a
from all the
casino in
candidates.
Vegas.
As soon as they step
Hey, who's
off the
that guy?
stage, we'll be back.
CMGM Grant.
Hannity?
Hannity's like, I'm next.
Jeez.
God, I like Hannity.
Okay.
God.
So, hey, by the way, I should probably tell you this a little bit. And I don't know if we want to take some chats, but again, the promo code is Crowder, GOP Debate. You get $10 off. Hey, with Mug Club, what do you get? You get 2 times the show every single day with us. You get a Friday show. You get Alex Jones' Alex Jones 2.0 on Fridays. You get Nick DiPaolo's show at Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. You're going to have Brian Callen's show, Hodge Twins show. You support our investigative
Hodge
journalism. And we
Twins.
also have some animated series coming down the pipe. None of it happens if not for you. Notice there are very, very few commercial breaks in tonight. Which is an exhausting 3-hour stream. But I do have to, every now and then, you know this, Nick.
I can't stay here for 3 hours.
We like to have a little.
His contract ends.
Wow,
I've been going a little shot again. Let's
wake up, Nick.
Say home.
Did you really think that was happening in this?
I thought I heard a shot in the studio. I was waiting for Walter Cronkite. Come on, Vivek Ramaswamy. He's dead at 9:30 Eastern Time.
Yes. I hate to interrupt this program.
So we like to have a little. We like to have a laugh sometimes in the studio, and sometimes we pull some pranks on each other. You know this.
How long have we been on?
And about over 2 hours.
Oh, good.
And you know that Gerald is obviously a very devout Christian.
Oh, jeez, here we go.
I do, because every time I say something off color, he cringes.
I know, and look, it's a mix. There's an intersective audience.
Says,
by the way,
Jesus is risen.
Yes. So by the way, we all agree on these things. Hit the like button if you like this eclectic mix that is going on. But we like to have a laugh.
I love you, Nick.
And sometimes we pull some pranks in the office. And because Gerald has often talked about,
Really?
Well, yeah, you remember. So we pulled a little
we
bit of a
could film
prank
it,
on
Gerald.
Gerald this
What did
weekend.
you do to the poor
And
guy?
I think we all had a good time with it.
What did they do, Gerald? What did they do?
Gerald
to you?
didn't.
Good Monday morning. Come on, guys. You got to color and what the? Guys? Anybody? Hey. What? No way. No, Steven. Oh, no, Tim. No, Tim. Oh, come on, Lord. Tim with his PR headband? I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to church, I went to ministry school, I went on missions trips, for goodness sakes, you gotta be kidding. Sam?
Oh, hey, Gerald.
He thought he was left behind. So drunk.
What an idiot.
Sorry, you got a good sense of humor.
No. Left behind with Sam.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay,
We
there's
like to
a
have a
difference.
laugh.
I'll
like
take
to have a laugh.
left behind with the Antichrist and people dying left and right, but not left behind
Well,
with
who's to say that
Sam?
Sam is not that? Okay, so let's bring up the drinking game rules one more time.
Yeah.
They just had to help touch up Nick because he was shining like the greasy Sicilian that he is. So you drink.
I love that I'm Sicilian.
I'm never going to stop.
Take it easy.
Anytime Donald Trump is mentioned.
I'm right there with you, Sucker Punch. I'm about to end this soon, too. I get up early. I didn't know he was streaming for 3 hours. Also, I also agree with you on your comment before about Trump and turning the country around. I think he's, if not, I think he's probably the only chance, but if not the only chance, definitely the best chance.
Wasn't an hour until this is a long commercial break. Should we go to do you want to go to really quickly one of
This looks like one of your sketches.
your remaining interviews? I know.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we actually have
poll. Yeah,
there's the poll,
and it's gotten worse.
God, you
several
guys did a good
thousand
job.
votes.
If you could be worse than 91% agreeing with you that those agents.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
Okay, so I'm going to go. By the way, can I just actually ask a question in chat? Why does anyone use that hands? Like my hands smell like my grandmother's funeral.
I hate
dead
that.
The
people,
perfume.
yes.
It's just
Yes.
so overpowering.
Sometimes my wife puts his shit on, comes in the living room. I get nauseous.
Yeah, I know. It really does. I'm hypersensitive to it. It makes
maybe
me
it's
nauseous.
just
We're going to have a little
But
therapy
listen.
session for Nick.
But I had a lady sit next to me on a plane with that.
Yeah,
And it's like going into a candle shop for 3 hours.
it's like someone
So I
farted
punched her.
lavender pellets
Yeah,
all
just
over my
barf on
hands.
her.
So I don't know, how long is this? We have Gerald, again, bring it up in the lower third so people can see that Birch Gold is still going on right now. There's a commercial break.
No, I think they're coming back now.
Are they coming?
This is the
no, that's the Reagan Library.
Let's see what we've raised so far.
Oh, yeah, bump it.
They're doing this in September.
Timpani.
Oh, they're doing, yeah, that's in September. You sat down with Marjorie
Hopefully
Taylor
Trump will be at
Greene,
that
or
one.
spent
I
some
did.
time with Marjorie Taylor and some other candidates in Milwaukee. So let's roll that really quickly as we come back to the debates with people outside of DeSantis and Vivek who no one cares about. But here's Gerald in Milwaukee.
So obviously you can see we have Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you for hanging out with us for a minute.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. The Biden crime family name is going around quite a bit. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about that. You've obviously had a lot to say about this. What do you think is the most egregious thing that the American people need to grab a hold of that maybe they aren't about what's going on?
Well, I serve on the Oversight Committee, and we've been leading the investigation in the House of Representatives into the Biden family. And our investigation is not into Hunter Biden, it's into Joe Biden directly himself. The most damning evidence, shocking to me, was when we went in the Treasury Department. I've been there several times, and there's these reports called Suspicious Activity Reports, SARS.
Right.
This is a report you don't have on you. There's not one on me. There's not one on most people watching this show. I would doubt hardly anyone. But there's thousands of pages on Hunter Biden, all kinds of Biden family members, but it outlined very devastating things. It showed us that there were millions and millions of dollars coming from countries all over the world going directly into bank accounts that Hunter Biden and Biden family members managed under LLCs.
Right, the 20-ish I mean, you have 20 as well, right? Everybody just has 20 LLCs. That's the way you normally do business, especially when you're not selling a product.
Right.
Right?
Working on the inside and really seeing how utterly bad it really is, I've changed my mindset to the point where I'm like, we only have one choice, and it is to vote. If you don't vote, you're really voting for the other side. Not voting is truly helping the Democrats.
Yeah. Congresswoman, thank you very much. I appreciate that you're in the fight.
100%.
Continue to do it, and we look forward to seeing what happens tomorrow. Hopefully some people start throwing some heat. We'll see what happens.
I hope they drop out, because we can just
They
move on
probably
and
should. There's a
fight
number
the
of them that
Democrats.
should. Yes, we should focus our efforts. That's not a bad point. I like that. Carrie, thank you very much for being here.
It's so good to be back on.
What's your take on big tech? I know you've been mistreated. I know we've talked about that before in the past, and that's an understatement, I know. But tell me what you think about kind of big tech and Rumble's place relative to YouTube, to Fox, and all those other guys.
I'm a huge fan of Rumble. When the first time I ever streamed a video and put a video out, I chose to do Rumble rather than YouTube, because YouTube has been behind censoring Americans on talking about the most important issues of our time.
Right.
What's happening, I think if there are good ratings on this, because I think with missing President Trump, I don't think people really are going to watch that much. But I predict that Rumble may have more viewers than Fox News.
Absolutely.
And so I think we are seeing the beginning of the end of old school legacy media, and we're seeing it being replaced with outlets where we can put the truth out, where people can get to it without having to pay a huge cable bill, without having to buy up a bunch of stations that they're not interested in watching on cable news. And frankly, I think Fox is going to struggle with their ratings tomorrow.
I do too. Thank you very much for making some time with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We ran into somebody. All right, we're going to cut into that. They're doing closing statements really quickly, so we want to go to that.
We'll see who actually sits down at the Rumble booth here for the Crowder GOP debate. Tim Scott, closing statements.
Against men.
He's getting laughs.
I'm Tim Scott. I'm asking you for your vote, and if you're in Iowa, I'm asking you to
turn up a
caucus
little
for me. You can go to votetimscott.com for more information or to make a contribution.
Give me money.
Did a good job.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Martha. Look, everybody on this
I
stage
love funnel
wants to be
cake.
the next president of the United States. And the only way that's going to
That's why I spent 3 weeks in Iowa.
Does this guy actually think he's going to be president?
Who's ever beaten a Democratic incumbent in an election?
Did you say beaten or eaten?
I did it in a deep blue state, being outspent 3-1. Beating a Democratic incumbent is not easy. The last Democratic incumbent president who was defeated was Jimmy Carter.
Weight Watchers isn't easy.
And he was defeated by
bragging that
conservative
you
governor
beat a Democrat
from
as a
blue
Republican
state.
in New Jersey.
Show me
it's
you
not a plus.
Yeah. Show me you can defeat your weight, and then I'll put you.
Hey, we're piling on this
and
bad
stood
boy.
strong and hard against waste.
I beat a Democrat and high
I will say
cholesterol.
he does fight hard against waste. He licks his plate clean.
Yeah.
What I'll do as president of the United States.
You know, there's governors all over the world starving to death.
Democrats want
because of you.
Some other nominee who's never beaten the Democratic incumbent.
fat fuck, look at
I'm the one who can win this race. And if you give me the chance,
can't.
Chris Christie,
I will
you
restore our
cracking up.
country by winning it.
You couldn't win a
Governor
fucking
Haley.
race.
Nikki Haley.
win any race.
All right, Nikki Haley,
Several
let's hear
weeks
this.
ago,
You're not gonna be here
I
next
dropped
week. Go.
my husband, Michael, a combat veteran from Afghanistan,
Ah.
off at 4 a.m. for another year-long deployment. I watched
couldn't
him
have
and
been happier.
230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags of belongings to go to a country they had never been, all in the name of protecting America.
Yeah, not you.
If they
So
are
why do
willing
you want to
protect
support
us from
Ukraine
there, we should be willing
and risk
to fight
them
for
going to
America
war?
Here. I will beat Joe Biden, and he knows that.
You're a
I will
globalist.
strengthen our economy, and we'll bring this inflation down. We will put transparency in the classroom. We will secure our borders. We will have the backs of our law enforcement, and we will make sure we have a strong national security. And once again, we will make sure we have an America that is strong and proud. We have a country to save. Join us. Go to NikkiHaley.com, and let's get it done.
And I'll stop shopping at Marshall's.
Go to the next door over to TJ Maxx. Oh, no.
Look good. Here he
All right.
comes.
This evening. It's an honor to be here.
Home and abroad.
Has weakened America at home and abroad.
I knew it. Home and
Disastrous withdrawal
abroad.
from Afghanistan, their war on energy, runaway spending that launched the worst inflation in 40 years, a crisis at our southern border, and
Sorry about to
assault
say
on our
runaway
values and
slaves.
liberties. And the American people have had enough. But I know we can bring it back. But different times call for different leadership.
Jesus.
The Republican Party owes the American people the
It's
choice.
out of a movie.
Proven
None of this is
leadership at the national level. that
He's a
knows how
guy
to move
playing a
conservative
Republican in a
agenda
movie
forward.
written by
We proved in
libs.
the Trump-Pence years, you can turn this country around faster than you can imagine.
You couldn't turn on a pickup truck, you dink.
Because I have faith in the American people.
You do?
Good, decent, hard-working, faith-filled, idealistic people of this country, and I have faith that God is not done with America yet. And if we will renew our faith in one another and renew our faith in Him, who has ever guided this nation since we arrived on these wilderness shores.
Where's he been the last 2 years?
The greatest nation on
There,
earth.
no.
are yet
We
to
don't
come.
need to renew our faith in each other if it includes corrupt members of the government. That is not the people. That is not the American populace you are speaking to. Vivek, let's hear him.
To celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bound by a common set of ideals that set this nation into motion in 1776. And this is our moment to revive those common ideals. God is real. There are 2 genders. Fossil fuels
Hey, who
are
said
a
that first?
requirement for
Here we
human
go.
prosperity. Reverse racism is racism.
Facts.
An open border is not a border.
Facts.
Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to man.
Facts.
Capitalism lifts us up from
Facts.
poverty. There are 3 branches of government, not 4.
Not 4.
And the U.S. Constitution
Schoolhouse
is the
Vivek.
strongest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what will win us the revolution of 2024. Thanks for letting me introduce myself.
And finally, the Mets suck.
Pretty good.
Game, set, match.
Let's see Governor DeSantis.
Hi, guys. Where's the Coke? I'm Ron DeSantis.
I ride DeSantis.
This is our time for choosing. We will send
My
Joe
ears are really
Biden
big.
back to his basement
You
and
don't
we
want
will
an Indian.
reverse the decline of this country. I'm a blue-collar kid. I work minimum wage jobs to be able to
A vote
make
for me
ends
is a vote
meet.
for-
I understand
Okay,
the
let's hear it,
importance of the
let's hear it.
American dream, and I know how that slipped away from so many millions of Americans. Will restore it. I'm a veteran who served in Iraq. I know what it means to put service above self. I'm also a dad and a husband to 6'5" and 3-year-old. I understand the importance of protecting parents' rights and the well-being of our
Good.
children. In
Good.
Florida,
6'5", 3-year-old?
we showed it could be done. I made promises and I delivered on all of those promises. 2024 is make or break. We're not getting a mulligan. No excuses. I will get the job done, and as your president, I will not let you down. God bless you all.
Okay. No, that was bad. I'm sorry. He rushed through that. And we don't get a mulligan. I'm thinking of every slogan I can possibly think of.
They gave
Yeah, I really like it.
They didn't give everyone closing statements?
Like that.
Oh, they did. I guess we skipped some.
I missed Bergham's.
Yeah.
For joining us.
What will I do with myself?
Dracula.
They get the worst first.
He goes, I got to get back to Kinko's, but I had a great time.
But first I have to find the last remaining Kinko's. That's a task.
I had a great time.
All right. So look, again, the promo code is, if you go to louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub, it's Crowder GOP Debate. You get $10 off if you join up now. None of this happens without you. We're going to see right now. We have someone on the ground there in Milwaukee to see who's going to sit down at our booth. We have Rumble has a booth going on there. If you're watching on YouTube, head on over to Rumble. We're going to go to Mug Club exclusive after. I don't know the timeline here tonight because we're waiting to see the candidates who sit down. I do know that we have
we're
at
going to
least
see
one or
who
two.
we can get. It's basically the Wild West out there after this, right?
Well, it's the Wild West, and of course they have some stops they have to make first with people who've actively either contributed to their campaign or provided press as, pro bono.
Or cover.
But anyone who wants to sit down and look, what questions would you have for these candidates? Send them in. I think, obviously, it seems like tonight Vivek was the biggest winner. And I understand that people will say, well, hold on a second, his rhetoric doesn't maybe necessarily match his own rhetoric in the past. And I don't really, I've spent a lot of time looking into Vivek. I don't really see the waffling that people claim. I think that he's provided clarity on some answers. You have to understand, this is not a man who's been in the public spotlight a whole lot. This is not a man who's been in public office. And so what you know about his points of view in the past either are coming from excerpts of his book or really interviews where he's not consistently in front of the press. I think tonight he made it pretty clear where he stands. I think it was his kind of coming out party to the American public. I think he did well. I think that DeSantis
he was the best
did all
to
right.
me.
And surprisingly, I never get the guy's name right. What's his name, the governor?
Burgum.
Stop it. I would rank him number 3 after those two, surprisingly.
He was much more interesting than some of the other people.
Well, his looks.
Yes.
But as far as Vivek,
for me,
saying,
Vivek was
pointing out some things he said. Maybe he's evolved
a
on
good
issues,
bit
like the Democrats
ahead of everybody
They
on that
flip-flop a little
stage.
bit, but I've evolved.
And
Vivek,
he's new to he's new to the spotlight in politics.
Show, for a few months now.
So his position might have changed, or he might know more now than he knew back then. So I don't really hold that. I don't really care about that too much.
And to me, maybe I'm just a sap, but he seems more sincere. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think
self-made millionaire. Which
the closest example I could point to would be Carly Fiorina in 2016.
I know. Why do you do that?
And so I hope that he doesn't make the same mistake where Carly Fiorina that came in as a contender and then all of a sudden had the Mitt Romney advisors in her ear.
But she was a failure as a CEO, remember?
Well, no, that's one thing actually I will say in her defense. People don't realize that HP was hemorrhaging hundreds of millions and then they started hemorrhaging far less. So if you're going into a company, it's like, okay, they're losing $800 million one year. The next year they lose $200 million.
Well, I bought a
That's
printer from that bitch and it didn't work for 2 weeks.
All right, so that's it. That's the end of the debate. So yeah, it was pretty good. Vivek definitely was the best to me, like I just said. But I need to get off of here. I get up for work tomorrow. All right, yep. Thanks to everybody who joined the stream. This is my first stream, so I'll probably be doing more in the future. All right, until next time.